Good afternoon. My name is Wande Adams. I am a contributor at Leverage. Welcome to Leverage by the Awabah Africa. I am also the co-founder and CEO of the Awabah Africa. What is Leverage? Leverage is a platform that we've created to educate the public in tech. And we do this by putting out video content, articles, podcasts, and several content just to educate the public, like I mentioned earlier. And what are we educating the public on? A lot of problems are out there, but there are a lot of tech solutions that have been created to solve these problems. And we want to educate the general public. We want to put in the spotlight some businesses that are solving this problem, some founders that are solving this problem, developers that are solving these problems. We also want to be able to talk to regulators that are making it difficult for us to solve these problems. As we know, we live in Africa today and we have so many problems. We here at the Awabah Africa are solving the problem of talent. We're a talent incubator and we have leverage to be able to talk about, solutions. And that's what we are. Today, we're going to be talking about pensions. How do you save for the future? This conversation is going to be like an onion that needs to be, I'm sure it has layers, but we're going to be talking to an expert that has looked at this problem and has gone head on to solve it. Today I have with me Mr. Tunji Andrews. He is the founder and CEO of Awabah. Tunji, how you doing?
Very good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here.
Tell us about yourself and just introduce yourself to the public and Awabah and why Awabah.
This question I get asked, and it's not a very straightforward question, and I think sometimes it makes it look like I am not fully appreciating the ecosystem that I work in. But honestly, I didn't want to be doing what I'm doing today. It's because there was just no other person willing to do it. So I'm an economist. I started out as a junior analyst in the capital market, working as an analyst, explaining financial markets to people. I found out that took me into a lot of work with the media. So I was always, whenever radio stations or TV stations hear about, the GDP did this, inflation did that, there was always somebody they would call in to, explain it to them. And I realized that I could do it better than most people. So I think in 2014 or so, I got my real second radio gig that I was host of a radio show called Business Express. It was early in the morning. Many of you might know it on one of the stations in Nigeria. And that led to like a lot of years of me being the agony aunt of financial services. So I'll be on radio and people will send messages or call and say, oh, my bank did this. Oh, my, financial services company did that. Oh, they scammed me doing this. And I was always, explaining, you could do this. You could reach out to the CBN. You could, send an email. And the general thought was, I kept realizing that there was a gap that nobody else was feeling. Yes, there were lots of financial services products in the market.
Fintechs. Yes.
But there wasn't anybody really speaking to the... I'm careful to use the word unbanked because I think that word has been really overused. But the underserved.
I think I like underserved, right? Because when you really look at it, you can break down the group into three.
Exactly.
There's the unbanked, there's the underbanked, and then there's the banked. And even those of them that think they are banked are really not banked. They are underserved. Okay.
So what we started to do was to look at that market and start to have conversations and why was this market underserved? So I started to talk to fintech businesses and say, there is a space. You guys should feel it. I have a passion for feeling that space. Why don't you get me to be a part of your company so that I can do this? And maybe because I was asking for equity, nobody gave it to me and nobody allowed me come in. They wanted me to be an influencer or a hire. And I was like, no, you don't get it. It's a vision. Let's do it together. And during the lockdown, the pandemic, I saw how vulnerable Africans were.
Mm.
And it clearly showed me that this thing I've been saying, that this gap, this space needed to be filled. And that was what birthed Awabah. The real enemy is poverty. And the goal of Awabah is to create a sustainable future for Africa. And that is what we do. But pensions is the platform to which we are doing it. Pensions is just a small part of the conversation.
Okay.
But the real conversation is creating a sustainable future for everyone.
Fantastic. So what you're creating is you're creating opportunities, and financial freedom is what you're creating. But let's dial it back, right? And even start from educating us. Can you break down the pension scheme, or just even talk to us about pension?
Yeah.
Right. What is it? Is it working in this side of the world? Are we taking the fullest advantage of pension? These are set up questions because I know to get you talking. Yeah. Are we taking advantage of the pension scheme? And what is the problem that you saw in this space and you decided to go in? Because I would say you're crazy.
Everybody
because
thought they still think I am.
I've done some work in fintech. I've built some fintech solutions. The easier way to go is lending, payments, and crypto, right? You're taking on
the hardest,
what everybody's running away from. So,
yes.
For those who don't know, before before I even moved to Nigeria, I'd been following you, and we met for the first time at one event that you hosted, and I told you that you've been my mentor for a while, and so I've been seeing your work, and so I wasn't surprised when you went into this space. Explain to us this space, pension. Take it from scratch, and then tell us, the problem that you're solving there.
All right. So pensions anywhere in the world is complex. Budapest, London, New York, pensions is complex. Talk less Nigeria. People who have the mandatory pensions, many of them don't even know how it works. Talk less of people who are now in the informal sector. So pensions basically is money you put aside to be able to give you income after you stopped working. So many people look at it from the perspective of after they've stopped working, they will just give you all the money that you've saved up. No, that's not the way it works. The idea is to give you a lump sum and a monthly payment so that you continue having a salary after you've retired. And that's just basically what it is. And people confuse it with investment.
Lifetime, right?
Exactly, for lifetime.
So in perpetuity, you get paid every month, even when you're not able to work anymore. But you do get a lump sum.
You do get a lump sum. So, but you also get payments going into the future. Now, in the real sense of the African continent, we've never had a problem with creating value, human resource, mineral resource. We've always had those resources. Our problem is retaining that value. So people are jackbuying, we don't refine our crude oil here. Yeah, we have mineral resources, they're all being taken away. Now, even the human capital, people are out on a daily basis. They are going to hustle for their daily 2K, as we say. But that daily 2K is earned and spent. Yeah. Earned and spent. It's a cycle, it's a vicious cycle, making sure that they never escape that cycle. Unfortunately, financial services are supposed to break that cycle because it's supposed to give you leverage. Yeah. Leverage for you to be able to get out. But nobody is doing that. Everybody just wants to open bank accounts. Come and open a bank account. Oh, set up a bank account. Come and take money. You're asking somebody who doesn't have income to come and lend from you so that the person will get into bigger poverty. So what pensions does is that it creates the platform for us to be able to give you access to other financial services because you are saving your money for a long time. You're saving your money for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That builds you that platform for us to be able to do multiple things. But going back to the pension system itself, in 2004, Nigeria realized that its previous pension system had failed, or at least was not working efficiently, because it meant that there was no money being saved away. The government would just at the end of the month say, oh, how many people do we have? Oh, they are supposed to collect pensions, Abi. This is the money that is supposed to go to them. But then it was easy because we had so much money. Yeah. So there was no problem paying pensions. But as resources started to dwindle, being able to cut out allocations every month became a problem. And of course, because it was that way, there could be fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could just randomly take out money from the system and pocket it. So there was a Pension Reform Act of 2004 that was created, and that was what created Pension Commission of Nigeria. That's PENCOM.
PENCOM, okay.
So what
PENCOM is the regulator.
The regulator
yes.
of the industry. So what they did was they created this system where it is pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians. The ones that you see advertising are the pension fund administrators. They have the forward-facing, they have the investment strategy, but they never hold the money. Because Nigerians, knowing our uniqueness, the regulator was able to think far enough to think that let's ring-fence this business.
Yeah.
So they created one. The pension fund custodians are the ones that are talking to you. They are the ones that you register with, but they never hold the money. As a matter of fact, they hardly ever even see the money.
Yeah, because the money goes straight to...
It goes to the custodian. So they are pension fund custodians. There are 4 in Nigeria, which we have, and there are 21 pension fund administrators. They were all built as investment banks. So they are built as a B2B business. And because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
So there's a big bank, they go to meet the bank. Oh, you guys need to pay pensions, which is a regulation of Nigeria. And they just talk to the HR signs everybody up. Boom, it's done.
And that's it.
But for you to be able to scale pensions in Nigeria, to be able to help everybody get out of that poverty loop, you need to take it to a B2C system. And they just were not built to do that.
Now let's talk about, so as we're going along, that's why you set up that B2C.
Yes.
Now let's look at some stats. So in Nigeria today, or before Awabah came on board, it took a formal employment to access
pensions.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And some of the benefits of this savings is if you're out of a job for a number of years, you can start to access it.
Yes, yeah.
Or whenever you retire, you can start to access it, like we talked about. But that opportunity was not made possible if you were not in a formal
space.
Employment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, on record, I believe there are more MSMEs
by far,
and informal employment than formal employment.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me about how much money we've had in the pension fund from the formal sector alone? So we can even talk about the opportunity generally. As far as when you were thinking about doing this, you saw that this pension fund is doing so well with a certain percentage of the public in a formal job, but we're leaving out
a large number of people
that are not in formal jobs. Can you talk to us about the numbers?
All right, so it's just, these are official numbers, by the way. Nigeria's workforce is 70 million. When I say workforce, I mean people who are able to work, available to work, and ready to work. National Bureau of Statistics numbers. Of these people, 21 million of them are unemployed.
33%.
That's sad, but yeah. That leaves about 50 million people, right? Now, this 50 million left, only 9 million are in the formal pension space. Only 9 million. So, and this 9 million people, as of today, have saved $30 billion.
Hold on a second. Because, okay, all right.
$30 billion. 9 out of 50 million people.
9 out of 50 million people. That's about 20%.
Yeah.
Almost 20%. So you're saying that if we just increase that number from 20 to 40% to 50%, we can get to $100 billion.
You don't know what, and it shocks me that nobody else was looking at this opportunity, because it was very clear to me, and it is the fact that, and not only does it do that, yes, the savings multiplies, but this is what a pension savings does. So what you need to understand that in Nigeria as of today, the single largest domestic investors of any kind are the pension funds.
I'm going there. Now, when we look at those investors, they issue bonds.
Yeah.
And our state governments and federal governments access these bonds.
Exactly.
So we have 30 billion, like you said. You know what's coming to mind is 30 BG, but I'm just going to go back to the interview.
Yeah.
So we have 30 billion. But when the government needs funds and they need to borrow, they raise a bond. And it's these pension funds. What that also means is the more money we have in the pension fund, the more liquid the economy can get.
So this is why I said our role at Awabah is to create a sustainable future. I'm not just talking about your savings. I'm talking about the multiplier effect for each and every one of us. So there are multiple things the Pension Fund Commission is now thinking about. In the pension funds invest in infrastructure bonds. So you want to build a road, you're trying to raise capital.
Yeah.
You raise a bond. Pension funds will invest in it.
Because they can't do risky
things. They need to be
they
able
can't buy
to,
crypto with the money.
They can't do that. They can't. I mean, even capital market, there's a little portion that they're allowed to. It's really guaranteed returns. So the larger the portfolio, the larger the money we can invest in things like roads, airports. Do you know even the more recent conversation I was having? I mean, this is some preview information where we were having a high-level conversation with another regulator in Nigeria that is trying to create a framework for pension funds to be able to invest in VCs and PEs.
But that happens in the West. It's just that it goes. There are different layers to it.
So why we're getting here now is that we need more money into this pension fund to do a lot more, not just for startups. I'm talking infrastructure. I'm talking all kinds of things. But we have now started talking, and the regulator is so excited about it that you can now even use your pension fund as equity contribution to get a mortgage. This is the thought.
This is crazy because now let's go talking about the regulators. So in 2004, when this was set up, when they reviewed everything and they set it up, they didn't think about micro pensions.
No.
So for a very long time, we had this thing working well, but we're underserving the entire country because we had less than 20% of the workforce contributing. Then you came along and said you wanted to be mad. Because it's madness, and madness is a good thing. And you said, let's take this thing
to the market.
The market. And so what happened? What did the regulators have to change anything for you to now then say B2C pension?
All right. So here's the thing. The regulator had created the framework about 3 years ago, but it just did not have traction.
So 2014 to 2004 to 2014, that's 10 years. You said about 3 years ago.
About 3 years ago.
So that's 2019. So about 15 years later,
the regulator created
the framework. Okay.
Now, the framework was supposed to let micro pensions be accessible to everybody. But like I said, the problem is that pension fund administrators are B2B companies. So how would you tell them to not only sell B2C, but you tell them to sell B2C mass market?
And we know what happens in that B2C space. So one customer will come and knock on your door and you'll be wondering how much money do you even have with me?
You know, like you tell him,
close a whole bank.
Take your money back.
So tell us, this was what birthed
this was the opportunity we saw, and we saw that, and this was the thing I was trying to explain to the fintech companies I was speaking to eventually. That I was talking about here. No, I can't. No. But this is the thing I was saying. I was saying that if you look at China, if you look at India, versions of Awabah exist. Versions. But we have closed our eyes to it. And if you look at the Indian economy and Nigeria, they're very similar in terms of the way they are structured. Multicultural, multi-religious, the same thing.
Yeah.
Very big population, a large poverty population is the same. And if you look at India, their micro pensions, one of the players that we're very close to has 10 million users. 10 million users. I'm not even joking. So they know what this thing can do. But here's the thing. They've also realized that it is the way to solve that poverty loop for the bottom of the pyramid. So if you have pension savings, because you have pension savings and you have, the issues are the same. The underserved in Nigeria, why is it that it's a difficult situation to serve them? They don't have KYC. You don't really know them. How do you track them? It's the same thing in India. India said, how are we able to create this to be able to know how to track our customers? If they have a pension savings and they have some money saved somewhere, they will be committed to it. It's their money now. They can't run away from their money.
So, when did you start Awabah?
January of 2021.
Okay. So January of 2021, tell me, what did you do? You created, obviously, name, business plan, everything.
Yeah. So that was.
You have to go to a PFA.
Yes.
And then they probably sent you out.
This story is out. I didn't feel I would say these stories until like later in the time, because these people are now our partners. So we have to be careful with the way we say with them.
Be nice. I'm sure you.
Nobody gave us. I'm
sure you made them money too.
Nobody. No, they know.
Yeah.
It's not. Nobody gave us the light of day. Nobody listened to us.
They thought you were crazy. Because
really
I have some friends that wanted to do this, and you spoke to them.
They thought we were crazy. Everybody wouldn't open their doors to us.
Yeah.
We kept banging, and we said there is something to do here. And the only reason why we got in was we said, at some point we just said, you know what? If your problem is paying us, don't pay us. Allow us just go and do it.
This is a founder talking, because founders have always said, don't pay us. They know where they are holding the...
You know what? Don't pay us. We'll go into the market, we'll get you the customers. And that was what they were like, really?
So what was the first 6 months of Awabah like?
The first 6 months was painful. It was me trying to say, we can do this for you, and nobody listening to us. And not only nobody listening to us, nobody just wanted to let us into the room. We had, at the point, thought we had a partnership with somebody. Honestly, and this is very hilarious, because we had gone to press and just said, oh, we have a partnership with these guys. Only to find out that they didn't think so.
But did they understand that? Because I know another issue was that a lot of them didn't even understand that regulators allowed you to do this. So
this is even the thing with the industry. When we made the announcement, the regulator, because they do a lot of surveillance, noticed us and went to our website, tried to register. But at this point, we had now realized that the partnership we thought we had, we didn't have it. So we couldn't sign up customers. And the regulator was pleased about the fact that they got to our website and couldn't sign up anybody. So they reached out and said, who are you doing this with? And we explained. And we're like, this is the people we are trying to sell for. And then the regulator says, okay, but do it the right way. So we said, okay. So we went back.
So let me ask you, because the public must know.
Yes.
The regulator is government. Did they now support, or did they say, oh, we love this?
So this is, I don't know if all fintech businesses enjoy the same relationship we have with our regulator.
A lot of them are regulated by CBN.
Exactly. So we are not. But the regulator was fantastic. I think generally because the regulator had been trying to prove a case that micropensions could work. So we were that proof.
Yeah.
See, it's working. Yeah. It can work.
So we've been talking about micro pensions, right?
Yeah.
So we've broken down pension.
Yes.
Can we describe micro pensions so that people understand?
Okay, so micro pensions is basically that for anybody in the informal sector. So you work for yourself, you work in a small startup, you are a hairdresser, Uber driver, carpenter, tailor, a lawyer because you're working for your own self-practice.
Yeah.
Anybody that really doesn't work in a formal 9 to 5, you can set up your own pension. So it's like formal private social security.
Yeah, so not going through
In
bulk
organization,
system,
exactly.
yeah. Okay.
So you go, and it is contributory, it is voluntary. There's no stipulated monthly payment. You do it on your own. You do it weekly, monthly, daily, if you decide.
So is that how the regulator set it up, or
Yes.
this is your product?
No, that's how the regulator set it up.
So even Pencom makes it easy for you to access
Pencom
pension.
had done all the work. It
Somebody
just needs to be
jump
sold.
in, and then Awabah came. Okay. You're a smart man. So it wasn't, now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't that you wanted to go into a crazy space because
It was a crazy space. I wouldn't even lie to you.
Somebody had laid everything
So
down.
the regulator had done all the work on paper. It just needed to be sold.
Yeah.
But it also required somebody who was crazy enough to believe that it could be sold.
So you did the first 6 months crazy, working on partnerships and even trying to then educate the public, because you have to do that, right?
Yes.
Just like we're talking about today, we're educating the public. So you have to educate people about, look, save for your retirement, right? Or even save
At all.
just in case anything happens to you.
True.
So now you then do that. You fast forward a few more months. Awabah is now over a year old, right? Now talk to me. How many PFAs are your partners? You don't have to name them, but how many partners do you have?
In the way it is, there is a full partnership and there's a partnership in principle.
Okay.
A full partnership requires that we have agreed with the PFA and the regulator has given
consent. Okay.
So the ones we have full partnership with are four.
Four of them.
Okay. But the ones we have partnership in principle are another 6. So
you said there are about 24 of them.
Yeah.
This my brain works.
Yeah.
So 24 of them, and you're just about 50%.
Yeah.
So now you can serve the market,
the entire market,
right? Yeah. How many users or customers have you now onboarded?
So my regulator doesn't allow me to say this publicly, but we have done a very significant number.
Can you talk in Naira and Kobo or dollar and cents if you can't talk in
so the regulator
numbers?
Publishes the numbers. All of it is the regulator's purview to do that. But I can tell you for now that every 10 people who have signed up into micropension in the last 1 year, we did 8.
Yeah, because I noticed.
And they have.
I noticed after Awabah came out.
Yeah.
The should I call them PFAs have also taken their time now to advertise micro pension. I saw one on TV the other day. I mentioned it. Okay. So that's 9 million and the 30 billion. How much has micro pension now moved that needle?
So it hasn't moved as much.
Okay.
It hasn't moved it at all. So we are yet to do 100,000 users as an industry for micro pensions, and we will do that in this quarter, and I can assure you that. But because it's new, traction has been slow, and it's been looked as a very difficult thing to do. So if you want to understand how micropensions works in the real sense of it, you want to understand FMCG products. You know, distributing detergents to the market. If you understand how that works, then you understand how micropensions is sold. It is not nice, it's not fancy, it's not suits. People who know me from 5, 6, 7 years ago know that I used to wear bow ties, and so you can see that everything has completely changed. And that's because I know the market I'm selling to now. It's a completely different market. So what we are now doing is we're first focusing on acquisition, sign-ups. We want to hit 1 million customers this year. Okay. And then we start moving the needle in terms of contribution. This 30 billion took the pension industry 18 years or so to be able to acquire. But we now want to be able to push ours.
So you break it into layers: is first acquire, then contribute.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So if you ask 10 people on the streets what banking is, 9.5 will know. If you ask 10 people on the street what pensions is, I would be surprised one knows.
So, if we liken it to a bank, 9 out of 10 know about a bank. And they probably own a bank account.
Exactly.
Does not necessarily mean that they have money in the bank account.
Yeah.
So you want them to even just register and have a pension ID.
Yes, first of all. And you know the pension ID is unique. It's as unique as your BVN.
Yeah.
So you can only have one pension ID as a Nigerian. Even if you were doing micro pensions and you get a formal job, it is still the same pension ID you use.
So your push is now, let's create as many unique IDs as we can.
Exactly.
And then if we get 100,000 unique IDs, 10% of them will start to contribute.
Exactly. So we're building the industry from scratch.
So we're talking about technology now. You've built technology. You're in fintech, right? You've built technology. Can I access Awabah without talking to anyone?
Yes. This is where we've now brought it to. So first of all, what we had to do was to go and learn from the market. And now we're building for the market. So in about a month from now, probably, I hope that this would have come out before then, we will be launching our chatbot over WhatsApp.
Okay.
To be able to give our customers easy access to what we sell.
Okay.
Our thought was we didn't want to make it the same app-led approach that disenfranchises the customers we are speaking to. We wanted them to use something they were comfortable with, which is WhatsApp. Everybody's mother uses WhatsApp.
Let's take it a step further. Why not USSD?
We've now gotten there. So it is one step at a time. So USSD, we're also doing phone calls to be able to do sign-ups on phone calls also. USSD, WhatsApp, then we go through the app. You can reach us on the, we use the website to do sign-ups right now.
Okay.
But
so the technology that you have right now, you have a website or a web app? A website.
A web app.
A web app, okay. So you have a web app, not yet mobile.
Not yet mobile.
I like that strategy because you've just pretty much looked at the mobile penetration in this country and you said, you know what, let's go where they are.
Let's go where they are.
You knock on doors, now USSD and WhatsApp. And then you then build an application.
Exactly.
Right? And the reason why I think that application is important is there are a lot of young people making freelance money and are not working.
Absolutely. But this is even the great thing about it. So, remember I said 6 months ago we were trying to get into the door and nobody was listening to us. Fast forward today, we're now a major conversation in the pension industry.
Fantastic.
While we started out just selling micro pensions, now we can sell formal pensions too. So for startups around Nigeria who, you've just grown and you want to set up your pensions, we are the people to set it up for you. And I say this because it's a testament to what madness can do.
So are you a PFA now or you're still in partnership?
So we're still in partnership, but so we have the full spectrum of everything.
Okay.
And there's even a few things that, it's just beginning to be spoken about in the industry that I can't share, but I can tell you that there's nothing that you want to think about in the pension industry that Awabah cannot do for you.
Fantastic.
Formal, informal, everything.
So now we know where we're at today.
Yes.
Tell us what the next 5 years look like for Awabah.
So the next 5 years is we want to be able to be working and have onboarded 5 million customers at that time. That's the first thing. But the second thing is we want to help digitize the pension industry in Nigeria. When I say digitize, it's digital, but it's not as seamless in digitization as the banking industry.
Yeah.
So the banking industry has a NIBS, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, which brings everything together. So you necessarily don't have to. There was a time in Nigeria, most people will know that if you owned a bank account with Bank A, you couldn't go to another branch to take your money. You had to go to
go to your
branch to collect your money. Now, it's not only so seamless, but you can also send money to another bank.
There's also that
interconnected. And that's what the NIBS creates. We want to help digitize the pension industry.
So let's talk about that industry now. Because you've looked at the problem for that the country is facing when it comes to pension and creating financial freedom for people. You've created a solution to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're now working in an industry that for your people to enjoy, for your customers to enjoy, for them to thrive, you have to help carry the industry. So let's talk,
you get it.
So let's talk about the industry. You've used the bank as an example, right? Today I open a bank account, they sign me up for internet banking, and I can access my funds seamlessly. Does that exist for pension today? So you're saying to me that
not even close.
How do I know what's in my pension fund?
You have to go to your pension fund administrator.
Phone call or go to their office? What?
I would like to say you don't go to their office. Some of them have apps that you can check.
Okay.
But the checking is really not interactive. It's just be able to see the number.
So we've built Awabah. We're solving this problem. We're moving fast, and you have to. I'm sure you're seeing that we need to move fast, right? The regulators are supportive. You're getting customers. Your partners are excited about what you're doing. What will you say to your team now through this platform, building this thing with you? Hang in there?
No, I mean they see the growth.
Okay.
So it's ridiculous. It's us
Show
inside.
Me the number.
The growth is ridiculous. As in where we were 6 months ago, where we are now. It's tasking for my team actually that we're having to do so many things, because like I said, it feels like we're the ones trying to help lift some things.
Yeah.
While of course it's not us, but we have to be able to plug here and here. So my team is having to do too many things. My team is amazing.
And of course, a lot of things happening now is even encouraging.
So exactly, Techstars happened, and
you've raised. I know you don't want to talk about it, but so those things are encouraging.
Yeah. So
what would you say to the public for those guys out there that and they've now learned about the pension scheme and access, that you've now created access? What would you say?
So I want to say you want to get in now for what pensions is and what pensions is going to be available to you in the future. You're going to be able to use it to leverage many things. This is Nigeria's social security. Don't think about it in any other way. This is Nigeria's social security, and it is going to expand in that same perspective. So think about it from the perspective of 5-10 years from now, when I want to be able to buy a house and I need equity contribution. This is what I could be thinking to use it for.
So for those who don't understand when you say Nigeria Social Security, so there's a fund outside of the pension fund that the government allows you to pay into while you're working. This is the US government.
Exactly.
And then you can access that fund when you retire. And the way you even access is, even if anywhere you live around the world, you can go to your embassy and access the money.
And it happens in Nigeria, actually.
Oh, really?
This system happens in Nigeria. But you see, the thing is, we've not looked at social security from the perspective of Nigeria. This is the Nigerian social security.
Oh, fantastic.
And that is what the regulator is building out. So plug in now.
Speaking of the regulator, what would you say to them? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. As in, the support has been immaculate. The regulator can't deal with us directly because they have to deal with us through the PFAs, but the support still is impeccable.
Fantastic.
It's been impeccable. I say thank you. You know yourself. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
And then for those who have questions, you can send your questions to leverage@thebulb.africa. We'll definitely pass them on to Awabah. You can put your comments. I'm sure your team will be following up and then responding to some of these comments as well. Thank you so much, Tunji. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This has been very enlightening.
Thank you.
I am sure that there will be a lot of comments. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. But thank you. We'll continue to do this. We'll come back for an update on what it's been like once you launch the app and all of those things. Leverage also reviews products, so we'll definitely do a nice review and all of those things.
Yes.
So thank you very much, and thank you for coming to the Bulb.
Thank you for having me.
Out.
What's on that want again? Shebi I don't explain to now how na go take save all this money you are making with Awabah.
Please excuse our curiosity. We just want you to explain to us how to sign up on Awabah.
Please come in. Now, here is how to start saving for your retirement with Awabah in a few clicks. Let's begin. First, log on to www.awabahng.com and click on sign up to create an Awabah account. Once done, you will receive a text message with an OTP to verify your account. Awesome! Now log in with your email address and password. And there you go. You are all set to register for your micro pensions account. Next up, tap on the Register Now button, just like this, and start filling the form. Then choose any pension administrators where you like. Fill in your personal information. Click Next, then fill in your address. Then click Next to fill in your employment details. Click Next again to upload your documents and also your signature. And just before you submit your form, fill in your next of kin's information. Yes, that's it. Now you're good to go. Wow, easy peasy, right? Yes, but that's how easy making plans for your future should be. Start saving for retirement with Awabah to avoid that urgent 2K in old age. Save money, make money save you.